right, so it's exactly 8:35. Let's get started. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to week two. So, we are 2 weeks in. Congratulations to us. Gradually, before you know it, will be in Python. Like I mentioned before, we are not here to teach you Excel. We are using Excel to introduce you to data analysis. So, of course, you would be seeing that it's not as if you'll be learning every single thing there is in Excel. We'll just use some tools in Excel to carry out some taxes required to for someone to carry out a project in data analysis. Sorry, excuse me. With that being said, uh, let me confirm if you can all hear me, but I think you can all hear me. I think I'm audible. Yeah, even if it's all right. So I assume you can all hear me. All right. So I told you that our data has. Thank you very much. I told you that our data has. We noticed that our data has some regions and missing data, and it has some records where the type case is different. Like some, like in the region column, you have states that are in all caps. You have some that are in proper case. So I told you that this is going to be handled in week two when we start dealing with data cleaning. All right, so today's class is on data cleaning. Now, this is arguably the most important skills in the entire program, be it in Python or Excel. And I'm going to tell you why right now. In the real world, data is never actually clean when it arrives. In most times it comes from probably POS machines, from manual entry, from multiple staff members typing things differently. And when it comes to work, people are in a haste to finish their job. It comes with errors, it comes with blanks, it comes with duplicates and inconsistencies. As If you analyze data, your results are automatically wrong, of course. So no matter how good your formulas are, you need to clean your data. So if you remember what I said in week one, garbage in is basically garbage out. So tonight I'm going to show you how to find every problem in your data sets and fix it properly. So if you have your PC with you, you can follow along. If there's any issue, you can raise it. So, but before we get started, we are going to look at like, protecting original data. Before we touch anything, make any changes on the blanks, the duplicates, and the rest, I want to show you a professional habit that will save you many times in your career. Right? You never clean on your only copy. Always preserve the original. Be it if you are fetching data from the web, if it's from an SQL server, if you are scraping a live web, or it's even a data that is on your local PC, you you never. Sorry, please, can you guys hear me? Someone was calling me. Let me mute this phone. Sorry, let me put my phone in airplane mode so that I'll not be distracted again. All right, please, can you hear me? Hello, please acknowledge if you can hear me. Thank you. So, um, yeah, thank you. So as I was saying, you don't mess with your original your original copy of your data. What you do is you make a copy. You make a copy. It doesn't matter where you are working. If you know you are going to tamper with the data itself, even if though you are trying, even if it's because you are trying to fix it, you make a copy first and foremost. So in Excel, just watch what I do, right? In Excel, the way you do this is you have multiple ways of doing this. Like we might decide that, okay, since we are just trying to clean, we might not even want the formatting on this particular data set. So we can say, okay, Control A to copy all the cells with entries, right? Where our data is, the range of where our data is. We've copied it, and then you might say Control C to copy it, and then you can create a new sheet by clicking on the plus button at the bottom here, and then you go to paste and you paste sorry, where is it, which one is it? Not this one, this is not what I'm trying to paste. Yeah, okay, you paste the values so that you can even decide to get rid of all the formatting on the data set, and you can just have the pure entry. uh, you can have only the entry, and of which you can now fix, right? All the all you need to do would be here. You can fix it, like all the cleaning that you want to do, you now do it on this particular copy, not on your original data set. You leave the original data set and you use the copy to do your cleaning. Now at the end, if everything works fine, this will now be the data you use, and then you bring back your formatting. This is one way of doing it. This is one way of doing it, right? Please, just 2 minutes, please. All right, sorry. So this is one way of doing it. Or how did I do this? Let's go back and see what happened. I created a new sheet, right? I created a new sheet and I copied everything I have here by clicking on one of the cells and just clicking Control A, right? And then I'll Control C the record, go to the new sheet I have, and then right click on any of the cell, especially even if it's the first one, just right click on it, and you want to paste the values, right? You want to paste the values, not the formatting out the rest, just the values. You want only the values, so that you work on this pure data without any formatting in it, and you start afresh. You can do the cleaning, assuming your data came with some form of format, right? So with that, but if you notice that what we did, I think it was the first week, some of the cells, the entries in some of the cells are too, the width of the cell is too small for some of the entries. So you select the whole thing, and then you pick the border between any two columns, and you double click. This will now reset the width of each cell so that it can take all the entries in the cells. All right, this is one way of doing it. What you can do, the other way of you can do this, which I actually prefer, let's delete this, the one I just created, is that you can right click on the name of the sheet, like this particular sheet that we are trying to get a copy on now. I can just right click on it, and then you see an option that says move or copy. When you click on move or copy, at the bottom here, you can see it says it's selecting the column I want to move or copy, but I'm trying to create a copy, right? So once I tick on create a copy, I'll now click on OK. So now I have two sales data that has the same entries, 1 and 2, and the new one I created was named sales data 2, right? So let's edit. So the way you do this is you still need a label to know what you are doing so that you will not be messing things up. So you can just pick one of them, the one that comes first in your sheet, in the sheet arrangement, and then you might rename it, change it to sales data, probably something like original, right? So that you know that, okay, this is the main sales data that you are not messing with, right? So you still right click on it again, and then there is an option called tab color. You now color that particular original one, and then as you can see, I've colored the sales data original. Now, this will mark it visually as the untouchable original data set, right? So we are not going to mess with it. So let's go back to our sales data. Let's leave our original sales data original. This is where we'll be doing all our cleaning in this part for this particular class. Now, the thing is, if we ever make a mistake that we can't undo, we can't even recall where the mistake is, we have the original right there, and we can always go back to it. So this is standard practice. You can do this in your file so that you don't mess it up, because sometimes you need to re-download it if you mess it up. Now, finding problems. Before you fix any problem, you have to find problem. A good data analyst doesn't just start fixing uh, things randomly. You first do a full audit of your data, find every problem before touching anything, right? So let's walk through these data sets systematically and identify every issue, right? The first thing is one of the most common problem you have with data is you might have blanks and missing values. Blanks and missing values. What is it today? I'm receiving call. What's all this now? Told you guys. Not picking your call. You are calling me on WhatsApp. All right. Sorry about that. Um. So they're even distracting me. Okay. Yeah. The first thing to do is, how do you check for missing values? There are multiple ways in Excel you can do that, but let's look at one of the ways, the quickest way to find all blank cells in a data set, right? So there is a shortcut key that is, you click, hold on Control, and then you press G, right? You hold on Control and then you press G. This dialog box will come up. If you have this dialog box, is someone saying something? All right, no. So if you have this dialog box, you're not doing anything here. You click on Special. Once you click on Special, you select, as you can see, what we have in the Special, you have comments, constant, row difference, formulas, and the rest. But we are trying to click on blanks. So you click on blanks and then OK. So Excel would highlight every blank cell in the data set, right? It will just look at how many there are right now. It will highlight every blank cell you have in your data set, right? Look at it. Everywhere you see, it's like trying to draw your attention to it because probably it's not as visible. So you can use this to draw your own attention to the blank cells you have. But before that, it seems it's counting this as a cell because we have a record there. Let's do it all over again. Control G, special, and we are trying to see blank cells. All right, so Excel will highlight every single blank cell you have in your data set, right? It's not accurate, but this is one of the ways you can do this. You know that I'm saying it's not necessarily the best way, but this is one of the ways you can just confirm if you have blanks in your data set, right? So now we know exactly, we know that we have blanks, right? We've seen that unit sold has some blanks. We've also seen that there are blanks in payment method. I think I saw a blank in payment method, revenue, and the rest. All right. So once you've seen it, it's not as if it's something that will be saved. Maybe it's a method that will be saved. You can just press escape on your keyboard to get that done. So now we know that we have, for sure, we have blank cells in our particular data set. So one of the ways is Control G, and then you click on special, click blanks, and you see it. Now, the next thing to check is you check if you have duplicates in this particular data set, right? You check if you have duplicates. How do you check for duplicates in Excel? The reason why I like programming in Python, it's as simple as asking for duplicates. So how do you check for duplicates in Excel? You just need to be on anywhere on your data sheet, right? So what are duplicates? You know, when you have similar records appearing more than once in your data set, these are duplicated entries, right? There are transactions that appear in this case, in the case of this particular data set, there will be transactions that appear more than once in the data set. It's usually because of a data entry error. So you click anywhere on your data set. On the home tab, which we are already, there is something called under styles. You can see conditional formatting. You click on the drop down and it will show you other options. You have highlight cell rules, top bottom rules, data bars, color scales, icon sets, and the rest. So, but what we want is highlight cell rules. Under highlight cell rules, you can see you have a lot of options. You want to see things that are greater than, less than, between, equal, text that contains a date occurring, things like that. But for this particular case, we are trying to see duplicate values. So click on it, right? You don't need to touch anything on this dialog box. You can leave it the way it is. We just want to see duplicated, and then you click OK. So any cell you have highlighted in red will be considered a duplicated value. But it seems like I was expecting that I thought we had duplicate values here. Notwithstanding, we don't have it. It's fine. So it seems we don't have any duplicates here. So it would have been highlighted in red. I don't know what happened, but I was expecting duplicates here. Seems I didn't put any duplicate values, but it's not a problem. But basically, that's how you do it. Or let's see if you can have we wanted to check for duplicates. I don't think I have duplicate records. So let's add some duplicates. I think I have some, but let me just add another one. I think I'll have to check. Okay, so when you have multiple records like this is actually a very good question. Don't mind me. How would you determine, how are you going to check if, especially in a sales record like this, what will be the determining factor that a particular record is duplicated? Yeah, Mr. Steven. Don't mind me. Sorry about that. So I was saying there is a just a question. This is a sales record, right? And then you have customers buying stuff, but we are saying there's a possibility that some records, the same record, is duplicated. Maybe it was entered more than once. So I'm saying, how are you going to check? What will be the determining factor? What would you use to determine that a particular record is duplicated or not, based on these columns we have here? It's a very important question because people, data analysts tend to make this mistake when they are dealing with Excel. Because when you think about it, someone like someone like let me see, Musa General Stores, right? Musa General Stores, it's possible that he bought goods multiple times, right? And the entries were made separately. Maybe he bought goods in one particular day and he came back another day and bought some set of goods. It could even be the same day. So it could be the same day. Maybe he came in the morning and bought goods and realized that he still needs some more. So he went back to the shop and bought goods again. So this is not a single transaction. These are multiple transactions. So the customer's name cannot be a determining factor to whether a particular record is duplicated or not. So before you pick duplicates, before you check for duplicates on Excel, you'd have to tell Excel what column are you using as the determining, what column are you considering as what will determine if a record is duplicated or not. In a typical sales record, the sales ID or the transaction ID will be the determining factor because each transaction, yes, the video is off again. Sorry. Uh-uh. See what this person costs. Please, am I sharing it now? All right. So yeah. So I'm saying the transaction ID would be what you would use to determine if a particular sale is duplicated or not, because every single transaction has its own ID. So even if Musa came and bought goods in the morning, his transaction ID was 0012. So if he comes back in the evening, there's no way he's going to have that same because it's a different transaction. So as you can see, he has multiple entries but with different transaction ID. So our column determining factor is going to be the transaction ID. So if we select that particular column and we go to conditional formatting and highlight cell rows and we tell it to give us duplicated values, without changing anything here, we'll click on OK. It's going to highlight the cells that has duplicated values, right? So as we can see, Mama Ngozi appears twice and the transaction is actually the same because they have the same transaction ID. So if you check it, you find that the transaction is the same because it appears twice, right? So, and this one, the one I created, as you can see, the transaction ID 0004 appears twice. So these ones are duplicated values, right? So any cell highlighted in red contain values that appear more than once, right? So this is how you get duplicated values in Excel. So note this down, we have two 0004 and 0008, right? So apart from that, the next thing to do after you've checked for blanks, check for duplicated values, the next thing to do is that you'll be checking for inconsistent formatting. So by mere looking at this, we know that region has inconsistent formatting. let's say let's go to filter. Okay, sorry, I did not explain what I'm doing. Oh, it seems like we didn't discuss filter. It's week 3, but it should have come before cleaning. No problem. So we want to check when they say inconsistent formatting is where the entries they expect in the data set are not consistent. For example, you know that there are states that are Enugu, like I explained the other time, but there are times where the Enugu, the case that is used for spelling writing the typing the Enugu is all uppercase, and in some cases it's proper case, and so on and so forth. So you would have to check and even confirm how many inconsistent formatting do you have in your data set. One of the ways to do this is to switch on what is called filter, right? You switch on filter, is in the home tab and at the top around editing. There is a place called sort and filter. When you click on the drop down, you find that you have a filter that looks like the funnel, like looks like a funnel, right? So when you turn on filter, you have an arrow on each and every column, right? That provides a drop down for each of the column. So what this does is, let's click on transaction ID. It contains a menu for the filtering and sorting, where you can decide to sort your data by anything, and take a look at the entries you have in that particular column. Unique entries in that particular column. How many unique entries do you have in that particular column? They would appear there, and you can pick to choose. This is used to, when we get to filtering, you see it. It's used to pick what you'd like to see. If you don't want to see everything and you want to see one particular entry, you can use this filter to pick what you want to see. For instance, if I remove this selection here and I say that I want to see the transaction that is whose ID is 0004, and I just click on that and I click on OK, you'd find that you can see that we have Amina Superstore, 2 entries, because it's duplicated. You have a duplicate of the transaction, which is TXN 0004. So this is how filtering works. If you want to undo it, you go back to that particular uh, drop down and you click on everything, and you'd have everything back. So every single column comes with it if you've enabled a filter. Date also has its own. You can pick a particular date that you want to see, probably transactions that happened on first, what's this? I don't know what this arrangement is. Would have to fix the date as well. So it's only one transaction for this particular date. So that's how filtering works. We'll see sorting and filtering in week 3. But for now, why we need this is to try and see how inconsistent our data is. For instance, in this particular region, you can see that you have all the states. It's supposed to be a unique entry of a unique entry, right? Unique entries of every particular state here. But you would find that okay, so it seems like is this because of is this 2024? But it's supposed to, you should be seeing multiple what's it called? The Kano should appear in our particular because we have, don't we have Kaduna? We have Kaduna in all caps, we have Port Harcourt in all caps. So I was expecting to see that. I'm coming, let me see something. Let's change this to Kano without this O. All right, so probably it's a new update that I've forgotten that it's supposed to be there. Uh, it fixes it. It recognizes. Let's see one of the states that we know has inconsistent entries. Let's look at Port Harcourt. As you can see, it's recognizing all the one that is written in all uppercase as part of this particular entry. I don't know, it could have been a recent update, I don't know. This is 2024 Excel, but it's supposed to show us, it's recognizing Port Harcourt as part of this, but we don't want to see it like that. Port Harcourt should be showing, the Port Harcourt that has uppercase should also be here. But notwithstanding, it's not a problem. We would work with what we have, but we know for sure that we have inconsistent entries here, where some of the entries are in all caps, some are in proper case. So we are just checking for now. So we can also check the date format as well. If you look at the dates, you can see that some of the entries are written in such a way that year comes first, then month, then hyphen day, right? But some appear with slashes, with some I think the year doesn't even come first. Let's look at the entries we have. Yeah, some the day comes first and then months, right? Day comes first, then months, and then some is the year, some come with hyphen, and so on and so forth. So this is inconsistent and we need to fix it as well. So this, it's called date format inconsistency. Excel may not recognize the differently formatted dates as actual dates. It might store them as text actually. So that means you can't sort by date properly or calculate dates differently. This is one of the problems we've seen with dates. We'll fix this too. So our full list of problems is that we have missing values in units sold uh, and missing values in payment method, right? We have missing values in payment method. We have missing values in revenue, because where units sold is missing, definitely revenue would also be missing. We have mixed cases in our region, right? And then we have inconsistent date formats, and then we have duplicate records here. So these are the issues we found that we can easily fix. The first one will be fixing our duplicate method, duplicate records. So since we have duplicates, before we do anything else, it will be the first thing we deal with. Uh, as you can see, we know that we have duplicates. So it will be the first thing we deal with. We can just go to our data tab, and it's very, very easy. Excel has something you just click on that would clear duplicates for you. So it's around the data tools. If you go to data tab, not the home tab, on data tab, you can find remove duplicates in the data tools. This is the symbol for remove duplicates. In this particular column, it's the second one, right? It's the second one. So you just click on remove duplicates, and it will ask you to delete duplicate values, select one or more columns that contain duplicates. So like I said, we are trying to work with just the transaction ID. We know for sure that the transaction ID is a determining factor for duplicate records. So we don't actually even need any of the other columns. And then you'll find that the duplicates we have in a particular record has been removed. So you have 300 unique values remaining, right? Duplicate has been removed. So the one that was removed was Amina, and I think it was 8, Mama Ngozi. So the duplicates there has been removed. Excel would even tell you how many you have left. So that's how you remove duplicates. It's not that difficult. You click anywhere on your data, you go to the data tab, and then you look for remove duplicates under data tools. It might not be like this if you are not using 2024. I wasn't even using 2024 before, so I just got it upgraded to 2024. So some of these things look new to me. So it's under data tools basically, and you'll be able to find it called remove duplicates. That's the first thing to do. First problem we fixed. The next thing is we can go into dealing with inconsistent regions, right? Let's go to our region column, and we know for sure that we have mixed cases in this particular region. Even though we found out that Excel is not treating it as different values, we still need to standardize them. So one of the cleanest way you can actually do this is using find and replace. You use find and replace. So you can just to bring up the find and replace dialog box, you can just click on press Ctrl H, and you would have the find and replace dialog box. Ctrl H, Ctrl H. So we know for sure that we have where Kaduna is spelled in all caps as Kaduna, all caps. We can fix that by saying find Kaduna and replace it with uh, Kaduna proper case. Find Kaduna all uppercase and replace it with Kaduna proper case, right? So we click on replace all, and as you can see, it's made 35 replacements, right? It made 35 replacements because 35 entries of Kaduna was written in all uppercase, and we want it to be in proper case. So once you've done that, if you go through your data set, you find that you don't have where Kaduna is in uppercase. Now, the next thing is we are going to do the same thing for Enugu. Enugu, we have where Enugu is in proper and uppercase. So we'll replace all, and you have 40 entries where Enugu is in uppercase, right? So we've done that. We'll also check, I think, Port Harcourt as well. Port Harcourt also has that issue, right? So we want our Port Harcourt to be written in proper case. So when we do that, you find that 36, it made 36 replacements. So we can also check for Kano, since we know all the states we have. We have Kano, Ibadan, Abuja, and the rest. So we can check for Kano as well. Right? So we replace all, and you see that it has 57 something, I think, that is in uppercase. You have Ibadan. If there was a mistake anywhere, it should be fixed. 39 states, 39 entries were wrong. Abuja, that means every single one of these states has entries that are actually wrong. Abuja 47 correction, and then we have Katsina, the blessed Katsina, 41 entries. Now let's make some changes. Assuming someone spelled Abuja wrongly. Let's say you have Abuja, ABJ, someone wrote it like this, right, in some of the entries, and then Lagos, someone wrote lag. In another one, they made a mistake and they wrote Lagos, right? So how do you fix this? Because this is not the issue of uppercase. The way you even know if this even exists, there's a problem like this, is still using the filter drop down arrow. So once you click on the filter drop down arrow, you should be able to see inconsistent entries in your data. You have Abuja, but I'm also seeing ABJ here. I'm seeing lag here. There was a time I told a student was given a task to fix this, And the fix he chose was just to unselect those ones that are wrong, the spelling that are inconsistent. You just unselect them and he clicked OK, that okay, he has corrected the data set. So what happens is that he has reduced the entries just because he doesn't know how to fix those particular inconsistencies. So you have APJ, you have lag, and then you have lagos. So how do you fix this? You still go to your control H, find and replace. So you say there's somewhere that someone wrote ABJ, you want it to be Abuja, replace or one has been replaced. Someone wrote lag, you want it to be Lagos, replace or. Why am I seeing 53 entries? Is it that much? Well, so I thought it's only one that had that mistake, or was there something like that I didn't notice? I don't think so. So someone wrote Lagos and you still want it to be Lagos. Was it Lagos? Is it not Lagos? Let me see. What did I do? Did I mess things up? Okay, I messed things up. Don't mind me. Uh, whoop, whoop. What did I do? Okay, yeah, I've seen it. Why am I saying Lagos? Is it Lagos I wrote? I don't know what happened. Then Lagos. I don't know what happened. How I messed this up, but yeah. So I think for the most part, we've fixed our region and it's accurate right now. So we can stop here if anyone has any question. We can stop here if anyone has any question. No question, right? So now there's a better way of actually doing this, right? There's a better way of doing this. Assuming we've not we have some, let's say, let's mess with some of this data, and then let's put p, maybe let's make this all cap. Assuming you know that the inconsistency you have in a particular column has to do with the case, right? Mixed cases. Maybe somewhere they use capital, somewhere they used uppercase, somewhere they used lowercase. So one of the ways we can fix this, let's not do it there. Let's come here and say, let's say there's a formula for that called proper, and then the column, the region, okay, yes, it's D, cell D. So it's proper D2. So what this will do, what this formula will do is it will make sure that it fixes every single, it changes the case of any cell you give it to proper case. So as you can see, we are changing the very first entry of the region column to proper case. Even though the first one, Kano, is in proper case, it works just fine, right? So if you do this for the one you know for sure is not in proper case, let's look at Kano, this particular Kano that is in upper case, it's D9. And you change this particular formula. Where is the formula? So you change this particular formula to, instead of D2 to D9, that particular Kano will be fixed from uppercase to proper case. Now, this is one of the ways you fix this. You can introduce a new column here, and we'll see when we come into autofill. We'll look at, I don't want to do it now, but once I just do like this, you can just fix the whole column if the problem is mixed cases, right? So let's continue. Let's make the fix of what we messed up. All right, so the next thing we need to fix, one of the most important, we are going to tackle the blank cells. And blank cells happen to be the most nuanced, like the most a bit complex part of data cleaning, because there is no single right answer of how to fix missing values or blank cells, right? What you do with missing values depends on the context you have and the data you are looking at. That's why understanding your data, understanding the work that is required of you is very, very important. Now, there are three options for handling missing values in Excel, just in Excel. We have a lot of options in Python, but for in Excel, there are three options. The first option will be just deleting the row, right? You just have to delete the row, right? If the missing data and the reason and the when you are trying to decide that you want to delete the row, what happens is that if the missing data makes the row useless, right? If the missing data makes that particular row useless, you remove that particular row entirely. Let's assume you are missing. We'll look at that first and foremost. That's the first option. The second option is that if you can fill it with with a placeholder instead of removing the row, you fill the missing data with a placeholder. So you are going to replace, for instance, something like, where is our unit sold? You replace the unit sold, for instance, you are saying you replace where you have missing with a placeholder, something like unknown, right? So it's clear the data is missing, but the row will stay. You will not delete the row. The third option is you calculate the missing value. If you can derive the missing value from other columns, you can just do so. You don't have to remove it. You don't have to use a placeholder. So in this particular data set, we'll use these three options. We are going to see how we might decide to delete a row, fill with a placeholder, or calculate the missing value. So let's look at the blanks unit sold, right? We have blanks in unit sold, right? So the blanks in unit sold also have blank revenue, right? So you cannot calculate units sold from other columns because nobody told you how many units were sold, right? And it's the most important part of your data, because if you don't have units sold, you don't have the revenue that was made in that particular data entry, right? So what you need to do is uh, you have you actually have two choices. You can delete the rows or you can flag them. Now, for a professional data set, I think the best what I would do is I would rather flag them rather than delete them, because deleting loses information. Because we even though we cannot make calculations with this particular entry that unit sold is missing, we do know that people's math bought goods, and the fact that they patronize the business might come in handy in one analysis that we are trying to make, even if we don't know what they bought. But we do know that they bought goods, right? So I mean, even if we don't know how many goods they bought, we know what they bought, but we don't know how many they bought. So the data is still important. So the best thing is not going to be to. So we might use find and replace to fill blank unit sold cells, right, with the word missing, right? So we might decide that, okay, in this unit sold, we are going to fill it with the word missing. So what do you do? How do you do this? We say we use find and replace. Let's look at what will happen first and foremost. Let's say if you want to fill blank spaces with a record, you leave find what blank, and then you replace with what you want to be replaced, right? So if we type missing here, I want you to see what happens. And then we say replace all, right? Look at what it's saying. It has made 86 replacement because 86 cells are missing. But what happened is that this would actually mess up with your data because units sold is not the only column that has missing values. As you can see, you've added missing to revenue, you've added missing to payment method, and so on. So this is a problem. We need to restrict it to just column G. So now let me undo this find and replace that I did. So we'll go to the header of column G, which is the unit sold, and then we'll click on the top of this particular column. It will show an arrow if you are hovering over the label of the column. So you click on it and it will select to highlight the entire column, right? So now we can now use Control H because this will tell Excel that I'm trying to make changes to just this particular column by highlighting units only. So when I click on Control H, I'll leave the find what's missing and then replace with missing, right? So when I replace all, as you can see, you only have 34 missing values this time. It is not replacing every single column with a cell that has missing values with missing, only the unit sold column. As you can see, unit sold has missing entries. Instead of deleting the rows, we are using missing to replace it, right? All right. Now every blank in unit sold says missing instead of just being invincible. Now the next thing is we are going to look at payment method. It seems payment method also has some missing values here, right? So we are going to do find and replace by selecting the column, Control H, because we want to replace um, missing values with we don't know the payment method, unknown, instead of not missing. So we are going to say the payment method is unknown. So once you select and you click on OK, you replace all, you find that if it's missing, it says unknown. This is better because some made transfers, some POS, some gave was on credit, some was cash. So if you don't know the payment method, you click on unknown. Very simple. Now, for revenue cells that will now for the revenue cells we have that are blank, because unit sold, they are related. If unit sold is blank, revenue cells is also blank. We are going to leave revenue cells blank for now. So when we get to if conditional statements and if statements, we'll build a formula that will handle this automatically. So for now, revenue is going to stay blank where unit sold is missing. It's fine and it's honest. We'll leave it like that. Now, for the dates, we said it has inconsistent format. Some dates are using hyphen and year first, while some are using hyphen and year first, while some are using slashes and day first, right? So this is one of the trickier cleaning tasks, right? Because Excel sometimes stores differently formatted dates as text rather than actual date values. So we need to check what data type these date values were stored as. So let's look for that one that is using slashes, like something like this, right? Let's look at the formula bar. I think the next thing we have on our agenda is dates. We're trying to fix dates. We fixed many of those other things, and now we are trying to fix dates. We've what we found out in date is that oh, sorry, I was in a haste to continue. Sorry. All right. So what we found out with dates is that we have inconsistent formats. Some of the dates some of the dates. What's this? As I was in a haste, I just hope I did not mess it up. Okay, I've fixed that. So we found out that some of the dates are actually some they used hyphen to like set the dates. Some it's with the slash and it's inconsistent. Some of the data are not correct. Some year came first and then months months then day, while in some day came first. So basically, you know what I mean. So the way you fix this, you have a lot of ways to fix this, and it depends on how Excel sees this particular data. Now, how the way you know how Excel is formatting this data is that if you click on any of the dates and you go to this particular format at the top here, you'd find in what way Excel is looking at this data. Is it a date? Is it currency? Is it, you know, all these data types now? Is it text or what? And but in our case, you find that date is just general. It's called general here because Excel is not even recognizing this as a date for now. But we can actually fix that. I think all of them are general. Let's look at the one that has hyphen. Let's look for the one that has hyphen. I think it should be somewhere. Uh, why can't I find? Okay, let me just filter for the hyphen one. Now, okay, yeah, yeah. It's also general. Yeah. So the way you can fix this is actually very simple. Since it's easier for us to do this if we have it in this way, we can just go to data tab, right? But first and foremost, you would have to select all the entries for dates. The way you do that, you don't need to include the label. You go to the first entry of date, you hold on shift and control and then press the arrow key down to take you to the very last entry of dates, assuming there are no missing values in between. If there are missing, you still need to click on the arrow to take you to the end. So once you have that selected, and you now go to the data tab. Once you're in the data tab, under data tools, there's what you call text to columns. You have text to columns, and then it is a text to column wizard. What we are trying to do is we are trying to show Excel that we are trying to fix something, right? And we know that we have delimiters, we have hyphen, and we have slash. So you leave it as delimited and you click on next, right? You leave it at you know you're not going to touch anything here as well, right? So you click on next again. This time you are going to choose under this particular column data format. You are going to pick dates, right? And this is where you decide the way you want it to be. In our case, we would like it to be, let's say we want to leave it as date, month, year. And once you have that there, let's say we click on finish. Yes, I'm just trying this out because I haven't fixed it. This is not the. I just created the dirty, messy data. So yeah, so once you try this, you'd find that the date has been changed to one format. All of them they use slashes, and day comes first. DMY is DMY, so it's day, month, year. Day, month, year. This is actually the standard form. Proper date values for Excel. It comes as day, month, and then the year, which is standard date value for Excel. Now, all dates in column B are genuine date values, not text. They will sort correctly. And you can even fix the format by, let's say we pick everything again, and then we go to home. As you can see, you find that everything, the type format has been changed from general to dates. Excel now recognizes this particular column as a date column. Now, this is one of those fixes that might seem small but has enormous downstream consequences, maybe especially when you are doing visualization and you are trying to see a line chart. If you don't have your dates in the proper format, it will mess your analysis up, right? It will produce wrong results in any time-based analysis actually. Anything that has to do with time will be messed up if you don't have this in the proper format. So that's how you fix it. Let's undo it and see it all over again. Initially, we have dates in multiple formats like this, and we are trying to get it into the standard proper format in Excel. And I say you select the whole thing you have there, right? And then you go to the data tab, you look at the data tools, and you see text to columns. You leave it as delimited, you click on next, and then next. This is where you make your changes, you pick dates, and you pick the format you want. Is it month, day, month, year, month, day, and the rest, right? So you just click on finished. If you've seen this is actually the proper format for dates. You click on finish, and then it will fix it for you. And then even the format will be changed to dates, right? So that's basically how you fix dates. So far, sorry, so far we've seen some fixes here. We've seen how to fix some things in Excel. We've seen how to remove duplicates, uh, standardized inconsistent columns, uh, flag missing values if you have missing values, or maybe you want to flag them as missing. We've seen how to flag them as unknown, fill it up as unknown, and then we've seen how to correct date formats. There are other ways you can correct date formats depending on how messed up the date is. We are going to see a lot of messy data. There will be some that you would have to use a conditional statement like an if statement to make corrections using the date values for formula. But we'll see that when we go further. Now, with all these corrections made, maybe you would like to know how you can save your data set, your cleaned data set, right? So you have this in your sheet. You like to save your clean data sets. So let's say we click on the sales data tab, and then we'll make a copy. You know, I like making copy. You can rename it, but I just like making copy. So create a copy. And then you have another sales data type. Now this time you rename it sales data, maybe cleaned, right? So you have this as a sales data cleaned. You now have three sales data. If you like, you can now delete this particular one. This is just a roundabout way of saying you can just right click this particular one and then rename it to sales data cleaned. It's just a roundabout way of doing the same thing. I like moving, yeah, I already have it, so it's not going to work. I like moving data. I like using that, what's it called? Uh, move and move or copy. That's why. Let's delete this one. Yeah. So now we've learned how to clean. One of the easiest way. We would have some. I'll have some tasks that I'm going to give you that we did not treat here, so that you can see other ways to fix and what other messy issues you might meet with your data frame. But before that, all we've learned for today is dealing with duplicates, missing values, and handling inconsistencies, right? So tomorrow we are still going to go, because the whole week is data cleaning. We are going to see more advanced techniques, including trim to remove maybe if you have hidden spaces, because we have, maybe you did not notice it, as we're looking for using special to see the blanks we have, there were some hidden spaces there. We are going to use data validation to prevent future errors. How can you stop maybe entries being multiple, being inconsistent, like someone typing in Kano in capital letter and the rest? And we'll do a full quality check on the clean data set to make sure it's truly ready for analysis, right? So these are things we are going to, some of the things we'll do tomorrow. We are going to see how to use trim to remove extra spaces, and then how to do data validation to prevent future errors, meaning forcing the entries to be of one particular type or following one restricted rules, right? So we are going to do a full quality check as well on our clean data to make sure everything is in order and is ready for analysis, right? So that's what we have for tomorrow. Sorry for these issues we've been having